My daughter, a social media influencer, built her empire on my chronic pain. I was Lily Glow's mom, a silent prop in her meticulously staged wellness narrative. Every wince, every sigh, a curated moment. But when the performance demanded I betray my dignity, this elderly mother decided to rewrite the script. This is her unscripted truth. A little more to the left, Mom. And can you slump a bit? Just a little. It looks more natural. My daughter, Lily, peered at her phone screen, which was perched on a tripod in the middle of my living room. Her brow was furrowed in concentration, not with concern for my comfort, but with the critical eye of a director assessing a scene. I shifted in my favorite armchair, the worn floral fabric now mostly obscured by a bland, beige throw blanket. A prop, of course. Everything was a prop. Like this? I asked, letting my shoulders cave forward. At 67, a former nutritionist who once preached the virtues of good posture, I felt a deep, weary irony in her request. Perfect, she chirped, her professional smile clicking into place. She adjusted the ring light, bathing me in a sterile, white glare that erased the warm, afternoon sun filtering through my window. It also highlighted the shadows under my eyes, which was precisely the point. We need this to feel authentic, you know, for the followers. They need to see the struggle, our asterisk journey with this fibromyalgia. Our asterisk journey. It was a word she used often. Yet the journey felt exclusively mine, while the rewards were exclusively hers. My home was no longer my own. My cozy living room, once filled with photos of my late husband, Arthur, and books on botany, was now a carefully curated set. Boxes of Vitality Bloom supplements were stacked artfully in the background. A branded mug sat on the end table, and even the book on my lap was a prop. A self-help guide on chronic illness I had no intention of reading. Lily, known to her 500,000 followers as Lily Glows, had built an empire on a foundation of my pain. It started small, a few posts about being a devoted daughter caring for her ailing mother. But it grew, metastasizing into a full-blown brand. I was no longer Nancy Croft. I was Lily Glow's mom, the silent, suffering face in the background of a lucrative wellness narrative. I complied because what else could I do? She was my only daughter. I told myself I was helping her. But as I sat there, positioned and posed like a department store mannequin, I felt a familiar hollowness. The performance was about to begin. The real turning point came with the Aura Wellness contract. It wasn't just another box of supplements to be strategically placed in the background. It was a six-figure deal. A multi-platform campaign that would elevate Lily from a mid-tier influencer to a major player in the wellness industry. The campaign was titled A Daughter's Devotion, and its centerpiece was a series of professionally produced short films documenting how Lily, using Aura Wellness's premium line of herbal tinctures and protein powders, had miraculously managed my fibromyalgia symptoms. The day the production crew arrived felt like an invasion. 3 strangers with cameras, lighting rigs, and sound equipment descended upon my home, transforming my sanctuary into a cold, sterile studio. They moved my furniture, taped cables to my floors, and discussed camera angles in hushed, technical tones. Lily was in her element, a whirlwind of energy, directing everyone with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. She had traded her usual yoga pants for a crisp linen blouse, her caring daughter costume for the day. They set up the first shot in my bedroom. The script required me to be lying in bed, looking weak and pained, before Lily would enter with a morning smoothie made from Aura Wellness powder. The director, a young man named Ben, was kind but firm. "Okay, Nancy, on action. I just want you to wince a little as you try to sit up. Can you do that for me?" I tried. I truly did. But the performance felt grotesque. My pain was real, a constant, dull ache that lived in my muscles and joints, but it wasn't a switch I could flip for a camera. When Lily entered, holding the perfectly photogenic smoothie, she knelt by my bed and delivered her line with practiced sincerity. "Here, Mom, I made you your special drink. I know yesterday was a tough day, but this will help." My scripted response was supposed to be a weak but grateful smile. I couldn't summon it. All I could feel were the hot lights on my face and a profound sense of shame. I just looked at her, my expression blank. "Cut!" Ben called out gently. Lily's smile vanished the second the camera was off. She leaned in close, her voice a venomous whisper that was for my ears only. "What are you doing? You're supposed to look at me with hope, like I'm saving you." "I'm sorry, dear," I murmured. "It's just a lot." "It's a lot for me, too," she hissed back, her eyes flashing. "Do you have any idea what's on the line here?" They tried the take 3 more times. Each time, I felt more like a fraud. During a short break to adjust the lighting, Lily grabbed my arm and pulled me into the hallway, just out of earshot of the crew. Her face was a mask of pure fury. "Mom, can't you just squeeze out a single tear? Anything. This is a 6-figure contract on the line. All you have to do is what I tell you." The number hung in the air between us, cold and sharp. 6 figures. My chronic, debilitating pain, my life, my dignity, all reduced to a price tag. It wasn't about my health or our relationship. It was a transaction. In that moment, the last fragile thread of my maternal denial snapped. The daughter I had raised, the little girl who used to bring me dandelions and crayon drawings, was gone. In her place stood a stranger who looked at me and saw only a commodity. The silence that descended after the crew left was heavier than their equipment. My living room was a ghost of a film set, with indentations in the carpet where the tripods had stood, and a faint, sweet smell from the uneaten smoothie still lingering in the air. I sat in my armchair, the beige throw blanket feeling like a shroud. Lily's words, "a 6-figure contract," echoed in the quiet, stripping away any last vestige of warmth or love from the day's events. It was a business transaction, and I was the primary asset. A wave of profound humiliation washed over me. For years, I had told myself I was supporting my daughter's dream. I had rationalized the staged photos, the exaggerated stories, the slow transformation of my life into her content. She's just trying to build a future for herself, I'd thought. It's what mothers do. But sitting there, in the wreckage of my dignity, I could no longer hide from the truth. I wasn't a mother supporting her child. I was an unpaid actress in a long-running show about a loving family that didn't exist. Was I being too sensitive? The question gnawed at me. She was under pressure, after all. But then I remembered the coldness in her eyes, the dismissive hiss of her voice. It wasn't pressure. It was contempt. My gaze fell out the window to my neighbor's yard. Clara, a bright young woman of 25 who worked from home as a graphic designer, was watering her explosion of sunflowers. On a sudden, desperate impulse, I walked over, my heart pounding. I needed an outside perspective. I needed to know if I was losing my mind. I found myself explaining the situation on her sun-drenched porch, my voice trembling at first, then growing steadier as the words tumbled out. Clara listened, her cheerful expression slowly hardening into one of disbelief, then quiet fury. When I finished, she put down her watering can and looked me straight in the eye. "Nancy," she said, her voice firm but kind, "that is not okay. That isn't just pressure. That is emotional abuse, and it's economic exploitation. She is profiting directly from your illness, while making you feel worthless." The words hit me with the force of a physical blow. Abuse. Exploitation. I had never dared to label it so starkly. Hearing it from someone else, someone with no stake in the game, was like a splash of icy water. It gave my pain a name, a legitimacy I had denied it for so long. Then Clara asked the question that changed everything. She tilted her head, her expression full of genuine concern. "I'm sorry, but has she always talked to you like that?" The question was so simple, yet it unlocked a vault of buried memories. The subtle digs, the helpful suggestions that were actually commands, the way she dismissed my feelings as overreactions. It wasn't just today. It had been happening for years, a slow, creeping erosion of my boundaries and my self-worth. The Aura Wellness contract wasn't the beginning. It was just the brutal, undeniable culmination. I wasn't just awakening to a single betrayal. I was awakening to a pattern, a reality I could no longer ignore. That evening, sitting at my own kitchen table with Clara, a quiet rebellion began to take shape. It wasn't born of anger, but of a cold, clear-eyed resolve. Clara, with her practical, tech-savvy mind, became my unlikely general. "You need proof, Nancy," she stated simply. "Right now. It's your word against her carefully crafted online persona." She pulled out her smartphone. "You know, these things have a voice recorder. It's simple to use." You just press a button. She showed me, her nimble fingers flying across the screen. The next time she comes over to rehearse with you, you just start it and put it in your cardigan pocket. Let her talk. The idea was terrifying and liberating all at once. It felt deceptive, a violation of the trust that I now realized had only ever flowed in one direction. But what other choice did I have? My truth needed a voice, even if it had to be captured secretly. 3 days later, Lily arrived, her mood significantly improved. The first shoot was in the can, as she put it, and the client was thrilled with the dailies. She breezed in, carrying a new bag of oral wellness products and a sheaf of papers. Okay, Mom, big day tomorrow. We're doing the afternoon slump livestream. I need you to seem a little low on energy, but then perk up after you have the revitalized tea. She handed me a printed script. It was 3 pages long, with my lines highlighted in yellow and stage directions in italics. Sighs heavily, asterisk, rubs temples, asterisk, voice sounds weak. Let's just run through the key points, she said, all business. I'll start by talking about how hard it is to see you struggle with afternoon fatigue. Then I'll say, but we found something that really helps, haven't we, Mom? And you'll say, she paused, looking at me expectantly. My hand, resting in my cardigan pocket, found the smooth surface of my phone. My thumb slid over the screen and pressed the small, red circle Clara had shown me. A tiny vibration confirmed it was recording. I'll say, yes, dear. This tea has made such a difference, I recited, my voice flat. No, she corrected impatiently. More feeling, remember the followers, they connect with emotion. Try it again, but this time, make it sound like you really mean it. Think about how tired you feel. Channel it. For the next 20 minutes, I let her direct me, and she, feeling in control, let her guard down completely. The recording captured it all. It captured her sweet, on-camera voice, followed by the sharp, off-camera critique. Don't look at the camera, look at me. It's more intimate. When you sip the tea, close your eyes for a second like you're savoring it. No, that cough sounds fake. Can you try to make it sound more dry? The final, damning piece came when I messed up a line. For God's sake, Mom, it's 2 sentences. How hard can it be? Just read what I wrote. This brand pays our bills. Well, asterisk my asterisk bills, just do it. When she finally left, satisfied with our rehearsal, I pulled the phone from my pocket. My hand was shaking, but not from weakness. It was shaking with the weight of my own undeniable truth. Clara came over that evening. We sat side by side on my sofa, the one that had been a silent witness to my staged life, and listened to the recording. Hearing Lily's voice, stripped of its public charm and laid bare in its raw manipulation, was sickening. But it was also validating. It was the irrefutable proof I needed, not just for the world, but for myself. What do you want to do, Nancy? Clara asked gently, after the recording ended. I looked around my living room, at the photos of Arthur, at my collection of well-loved novels. I wanted my life back. Not the life Lily curated for her followers, but my own quiet, authentic existence. I want to tell the truth, I said, my voice steady. I just want to be myself again. We didn't plan a dramatic takedown. We planned a simple declaration of independence. Clara, with her design skills, helped me create a new, simple Facebook profile under my own name. Nancy Croft. My profile picture was a recent photo she had taken of me in my garden, smiling, with no ring light in sight. Together, we composed a statement. It was short, factual, and devoid of anger or accusation. It was written with the quiet dignity I was determined to reclaim. It read, "My name is Nancy Croft. For the past few years, many of you have come to know me as the mother of Lily Glows Brewer. I am writing this today to clarify a few things about my life and my health. I live with fibromyalgia, a chronic condition with which I struggle daily. However, the narrative that has been built around my illness is not one I have consented to. The products you have seen in my home have been used as props for marketing campaigns. I have not used the Aura Wellness tinctures, the Vitality Bloom supplements, or any of the other products that have been promoted as part of my wellness journey. My personal health management is a private matter between me and my doctor. Furthermore, I have not received any financial benefit from the brand partnerships or fundraisers that have used my image and story. I love my daughter, but I can no longer participate in a narrative that misrepresents my life and commodifies my health struggles. All I wish for is to live out my remaining years in peace and authenticity. Attached is a short audio file from a recent conversation with my daughter, which I believe will provide context for this statement. Clara showed me how to attach the MP3 file of the recording. With a deep breath, I hovered my finger over the post button. It felt like stepping off a cliff. Then I pressed it. Clara, being a native of the internet, knew exactly where to plant the seeds. She shared the post to her own timeline, and then, using an anonymous account, shared the link to two specific Reddit communities. r/insane parents, with a title twist. Insane daughter exploits ailing mother for clicks, and r/am I the asshole. We didn't have to wait long. The internet, for all its chaos, has a surprisingly sharp sense of justice. The post exploded. First, a few hundred shares, then a few thousand. The audio file was the devastating blow. The stark contrast between Lily's public persona and her private coaching was undeniable. The hashtag #LilyGlows lies started trending on Twitter within hours. My quiet statement had become a roar. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic for Lily. It was like watching a dam break. By the next morning, Aura Wellness had released an official statement on all their social media channels. They announced the immediate termination of their contract with Lily Glows, offered a public apology to me for my unwitting involvement, and pledged a significant donation to a national fibromyalgia research foundation. It was a masterclass in corporate damage control. One by one, the other brands followed suit, Domino's toppling in a spectacular public relations nightmare. Vitality Bloom, the mug company, even the yoga pants brand she frequently wore, all posted statements distancing themselves from her. Her carefully constructed empire, built on a foundation of my fabricated suffering, crumbled in less than 24 hours. Lily's follower count plummeted. The comments on her last post, a cheerful picture of us with the caption, "Making memories with my favorite lady," were a tidal wave of fury. "Exploiter, liar, you should be ashamed of yourself." Her first response was a frantic, poorly filmed video from her car, denying everything. She claimed the audio was a malicious deepfake created by a jealous competitor. The internet, armed with the raw, unfiltered audio, laughed her off the platform. The video was ratioed into oblivion. A day later, the denial was replaced by a tearful apology video. She sat in a sterile white room, makeup smudged, claiming she had lost her way under the immense pressure to succeed, and that she loved me more than anything. It was another performance, and this time no one was buying it. My phone, which had been silent for so long, began to buzz incessantly. A relentless stream of calls and texts from Lily. First came the panicked apologies. "Mom, please call me, we can fix this." Then the desperate pleas, "You're ruining my life. Everything I've worked for is gone." Finally, the familiar, biting anger. "How could you do this to me? After everything I've done for you." It was the same cycle of manipulation, just compressed into a frantic digital storm. On Clara's advice, I did the simplest, most powerful thing I had ever done in our relationship. I blocked her number. I blocked her on the new Facebook account. With each tap of the screen, I was building a wall, not of anger, but of peace. I was establishing a new order, one where my tranquility was no longer negotiable. Her chaos was her own to manage. My silence was my victory. 3 months later, the digital storm had passed, leaving behind a quiet I hadn't realized I was missing so desperately. Lily had vanished from the internet, her accounts deleted, her brand a cautionary tale whispered in marketing forums. I heard from a distant cousin that she had moved to another state, seeking anonymity. I felt a pang of sadness for the daughter I once knew, but it was overshadowed by an immense, profound sense of relief. My home was mine again. The beige throw was packed away, and my worn, floral armchair sat proudly in its place. The branded products were gone, donated to a local shelter. In their place, my botany books and photos of Arthur returned to their rightful spots on the shelves. The house could finally breathe, and so could I, freed from my role as a prop. I rediscovered a part of myself I thought was long gone. I started writing again, not for an audience of strangers, but for my community. I began a small, volunteer-run column for the local senior center's newsletter called Nancy's Nook. Drawing on my decades of experience as a nutritionist, I wrote about managing chronic conditions through gentle, practical dietary choices. The response was warm and wonderful. I wasn't an influencer. I was just a neighbor, sharing what I knew. Clara and I became fast friends. Our afternoons were now spent on my porch, not for photo ops, but for genuine conversation over cups of real tea, no brand names attached. We talked about her design projects and my garden. She taught me how to identify different bird songs, and I taught her my late husband's secret recipe for lemon scones. One sunny afternoon, I sat in my armchair, a notebook in my lap, jotting down ideas for my next column. The sunlight streamed through the window, warm and unfiltered, falling across my hands. There was no ring light, no script, no one telling me how to feel. I hadn't destroyed my daughter's life. I had simply refused to let her continue to destroy mine. I hadn't sought revenge. I had only, finally, reclaimed my peace. And in the quiet, dignified rhythm of my new life, I had found my own unscripted truth. Thank you for listening to this story. If you've ever felt unseen or unheard in your own family, know that you're not alone. Your voice matters. Feel free to share your own experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of justice and empowerment.